on. Honestly, though, I just want to say SNL taking the time to copyright claim our video. That's a sign that we're making it somewhere, folks.
Moving on up. Moving on up. Do you remember when we were early in the game and we were like, we don't even have to worry about copyright strikes. Nobody knows who the fuck we are. You remember those good
I do
old
remember.
days?
I do remember those good old days. We just
Good
played
old
Kanye
days.
West
Yep.
on a stream. We did that once a long time ago.
Yep.
No one knew. No one will ever know.
I don't want to like suck the joy out of this for y'all or anything, but I'm pretty sure it was just an algorithm that caught that it was exactly the same as this other video. Like, they do have those. I don't know if we got noticed or anything.
Even for the algorithm
I know
to notice you.
Even for the algorithm to notice
That's
something.
still a step up from where we used to be.
That's right. That's right.
Just being blocked by an algorithm is a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll get to like say,
Rachel, you pissed yourself. You just urinated everywhere.
Yeah, like let me. That's like the punchline of the joke.
I know. You do that to me all the time. It's
To be fair, Rachel, you do that.
You do that to me all the time. You're like, here's your punchline that you're working up to. I'm smart. So,
Rachel, tell us the story.
We all get along here, folks. No, so we got my kid a trampoline. And I'm thinking like, oh fuck yes, I'm so out of shape. This is like a thing that is interesting to do.
You already had like
I know my joints are made of like tissue paper. It's like I have thoroughly fucked myself here. I know I have. But it was so fun. I couldn't not. And then what happened was after about like an hour, I kind of had to pee. And I was like, oh, I need to go inside and pee, but I'll do like one more round of jumping. And that was a mistake, folks. That was a mistake because it was like every time I hit the trampoline, it came out, but I couldn't just like stop immediately because you can't just immediately stop jumping on a trampoline. So it was just like,
wow.
Yeah, so like if anybody has ever thought I was attractive or sexy, please let me disabuse you of the notion with this authentic story of me accidentally peeing myself this
It's
morning.
not true.
I took 2 showers or 3, depending on how you frame it.
Damn it.
You know, some days we just don't have it in us to do like a serious podcast. This is going to be one of those heavy parasocial days, folks, because we are tired.
I have a half a headache. I literally all weekend, I thought when the weekend came, I had like a long week of dealing with a ton of bullshit. And I thought when the weekend came, I was going to vibe and chill all weekend. And then it was like, no, you only get to like half vibe and you still have to half work both days.
You don't get to vibe. You get to vib.
Vib?
You get to vib. No E. The E is for winners.
What's the step down from vibing? Like,
chilling?
No, maybe chilling. Is it chilling?
Just go like one step back in the white people appropriating words for relaxing, like history, and that's the one below it. Just one down on the stack. That is the slightly less cool version.
We're getting jiggy with it.
We're maxing and relaxing.
We're chilling out max and relaxing all cool. Shooting some b-ball out of school. So listen.
Let's celebrate for a second, really quick, before we get into anything else. I want to just take a quick moment to celebrate Mas in Bolivia.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna get a whole episode, but we should still celebrate now.
We're gonna give it more. Yeah, we're gonna give it more attention later. Like if y'all want like more of a deep dive into the coup and what happened, because we actually did an original deep dive on it a long time ago. So
we OG'd a deep dive on it, and also let's say this:
like if you are Bolivian and you are interested in talking to us about what it's like down there, just like reach out.
We actually have a couple of Bolivian journalist mutuals that we'll probably reach out to.
Yeah.
And also, and this needs to be said, there are many shows, there are many podcasts that come once in a while, right? So while we did not do any Bolivia episodes, we did cover the Bolivia situation on our Twitter feed consistently from the day that it happened through the media getting bored with it and leaving it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Got updates on like minor details of that situation, partially because of those journalists that we follow and have mutuals with. Mm-hmm. But we pay significant attention to this situation throughout the year. And that's one of the values of following.
Well, yeah.
And I just really want to remind everybody that, you know, the mainstream media was trying to sell you this narrative that the Bolivian people did not want Evo, that they did not want MAS, that they did not want socialism, that they were tired of it, that they wanted these far-right capitalist leaders to come in and shake things up, and that this was the will when Evo Morales was run out of Bolivia, that was the will of the people being done. That's what the mainstream media was trying to sell us. And the people just got out in the polls and said, nope, actually the will of the people is more socialism. Thank you.
I think Bolivia is a really important sort of like test case for the viability of socialism, like now in the sort of current, you know, zeitgeist or whatever. And I think that the fact that they were able to sort of bring those numbers forward anyway is very hopeful. You know?
Yeah.
It helps that like that entire world is very much it's like an ethno-national situation, because the class lines of colonization is set up so firmly with the indigenous people of the country against the colonizing class of the country. Quite have that power switch here in the United States.
But I also think it's because they've seen the solutions. This is like the joke that, you know, we all sometimes make about like trying to be a conservative politician in the UK, convincing people to get rid of the healthcare that they have and love, you know, like that's kind of the situation that they're in Bolivia. This idea of what is possible is not hypothetical to them. They have universal healthcare. They have a number of universal safety net programs that, you know, the Socialist Party has pushed through over the years, that like the people really seriously benefit from. And so once it's already in your hands, it's much harder to take away than when it's still hypothetical, you know? I think if Bolivia, like if Bolivia was in the situation like Evo Morales was being run out of his first term and hadn't accomplished those things yet, it might be a completely different story, right? But everyone knows, hey, I don't want to lose my fucking healthcare. Like, I don't care what the hell these fascists say. I want my damn healthcare. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's different, like I say, when it's already in your hands like that.
Absolutely. Listen. We've got to talk about this.
What are we talking about?
It's important.
Let's do it.
My email inbox is just as important as anything else that's going on. My inbox and
go on a journey with Brandon.
My literal inbox is also. If you are an American and you live in the United States, your mailbox right now like this.
God, yeah, it does.
It's nothing but flyers and folders. This bullshit, and I want to just point out the need to eliminate corporate money in politics, because now we have such an overflow of money in politics that they don't know what to spend it on, which results in the same organization mailing you 3 times in a week, 4 times in a week. Not the same candidate. I want to be clear. We're not talking about Jon Ossoff at this frequency. We mean literal every organization is sending tons of mailers. We're multiple languages, multiple times a week. And sometimes they're repeat. It's just literal pollution at this point.
Yeah, it is. Well, and I mean, the thing is, these companies make extraordinary amounts of money, printing these. Like, it's such an amazing grift, right? And meanwhile, they're paying the people who are actually like running the machines nothing. Like, it's
nothing.
The perfect sort of petty bourgeois scheme, you know?
And it absolutely sucks.
Entirely related. I wanted to share the information with y'all that my child has been practicing her handwriting.
Okay.
She is getting so good at her letters. Look how good they are.
Aww.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. This is what we love.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the whole story. It's my kid. She's good at writing things. And she has strong opinions about these mailers, which are that we shouldn't keep having.
They're all bad. They're all very bad.
They're all bad. I've never gotten a mailer that was good.
No.
Well, okay. So
they're always crap. They're always like, first of all,
they are, but
mailers are the worst. They are the underbelly of political thought in terms of like, you will find the most racism, sexism, pandering to like bizarre values, corporate apologia, etc. in mailers compared to anywhere else. Like, you want to know what your candidate is really like? See what the fuck's on their mailer, and like that's the shit that they're actually about.
So you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but as the professional advertiser on the show, I just want to say we all talk about science. We all want to respect science. This is science.
It is.
This is the science of how to change a person's opinion. Believe me that everything that you see there has been tested against an opposing mailer. So by the time that you see something like that in your inbox, it's been tested against other messages. So Kennedy, you're saying that it represents the lizard of America, and you might be right, by the way. But I want to say, regardless of political party, that also represents the decision-making brain that is looking at right there. And of course, it's obviously targeted at people who open their mail, which is, boomer. But this shit, I get to a summary here, this shit does not just exist in your mailbox. It also exists in your email inbox. If you signed a petition or donated to a candidate or done anything, your email inbox basically looks like this, except a digital version of it.
Yeah.
Also, my text messages are blowing up. Somehow I got put into somebody's number. I got put in as mine or something. And I ended up getting all of this woman Lisa's many, many, many texts. Because I like frantically avoid following anything politically outside of like the internet so that I can have some semblance of like, separation of the two worlds. And every 3 or 4 hours, somebody texts me like, "Hey, Lisa, just wanted to remind you this thing about, voting for so-and-so. Donald Trump is an existential threat to humanity." And I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, who's Lisa? Why?
I have something like that in my inbox. I think I'm Sinead, which is great. And also, I guess my former phone owner was one of the like the indivisible libs, because I get a lot of stuff to my text messages that's like, women do not have enough seats in Congress, and I need you should get in there and fix that with your $10 donation to Kamala or whatever it is. Send us your money. They send clap emojis like they do all.
I don't get that. Instead, for a long time, I got these very concerning voicemails about, "We're trying to deliver your oxygen, Claudia." And I'm like, Claudia, I really hope you get this oxygen. I cannot really assist, but God, this is not good. They're calling me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Never had
technology jokes.
wild. Haha.
Haha.
We're fresh, we're young. We have a new perspective on things.
I have just some great that I want to share with you guys today. That's just about kind of spam that I'm in my inbox. It's terrifying. First of all, I didn't know that this was a regular incident. We are not getting these things sent to our names because Kennedy, you're a senior citizen named Claudia. I am a generic white guy, a nerd from New Jersey named Mark. I'm also Sinead.
Oh, also in my physical inbox, I sometimes get mail for a carpet company.
Wow. That's rad. Listen, I want us to look at some of the stuff that I am getting to my email inbox, and I've been in a little hurry because I want to make sure that this thing looks great and also doesn't violate my privacy or get me doxxed. So, here's one. Okay. Yeah. We've got major news. Mitch McConnell's on the brink of winning it all. We're unlocking an unprecedented 350% match on all gifts until 9 tomorrow. We weren't going to email you, but we've got bad news. And they've got the poll. And the header is something like, Amy was surging, but Mitch has suddenly reversed the field. Oh, no. And I think that the subject line is like, oh, no, 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 no. Like, it's like someone's literally dying.
You know what I hate the most about these is, like, I've been on the teams that make these kinds of things.
Yes, I have too. I mean,
it's so cynical. They wrote all of these. They wrote all of these before any of it happened. This is all scripted. Like,
it's all fake.
So, like,
well, okay. So just because we
in the polls, but they were waiting for that dip. You know what I mean? And it's just so like disgusting.
I wanna make a debate. I hate the phrase I want to play devil's advocate, but we are in an interview and I want to hear and know more about all the people involved. So let's embrace debate here.
Okay.
If we were to grab the that wrote this email and we were to say, we're here and we're holding you accountable for your just crimes against the human psyche, they would probably say something like, listen, so I know this is cheesy, it's bad, but this is science, as I said earlier. So, and we know that there are a certain amount of boomers that will get a certain amount of money. And listen, Mitch McConnell is bad.
Yeah.
Like, we get dunked on all the time for when we do stuff about Trump being bad, but like, Trump is bad.
Yeah.
So they may say, these boomers are here on the mailing list because they hate Mitch McConnell. It's an email about how Mitch McConnell sucks, and when they send us money, we're going to go try to stop Mitch McConnell. Is it so important that my work not just be trashy and manipulative, if that's what it takes to do it?
I think the problem, and this was my take on Twitter, is that like this strategy I would believe in if Hillary Clinton had won.
The problem with that, Joe Biden's going to win, and these same people are still in charge.
And they're just going to say it was because
they're going to say it was because Hillary Clinton was uniquely bad, or they'll say we need our Republicans to be even more right-wing than Trump.
But
also, when
we talk about like how just being a fucking nerd is not like a great strategy, but Democrats do it anyway. Just going, look at this bully. That's nerd shit.
I mean,
that's
talk about who
and like
Like,
Hillary leaned all in on Trump is a bully. This is not America. This is deplorable. All that stuff, and everyone hated it. It didn't improve her polling. It worsened it. She would have been better off to never even acknowledge Trump's bullying and instead just focus on herself. And that's what Amy McGrath is doing right now. Is she's like, oh, Mitch McConnell, he's so mean and worthless and bad. Hoo. And it's like, I don't think there's any Amy McGrath supporter that could tell you like what it is that she stands for that's good.
No. Because they're not engaged with politics in that way. But they are giving money apparently.
Well, and keep in mind, like, people are just aggressively going out of state for donations. Like, even people running for local office in Georgia, I know for a fact, are actively trying to get donations from people in Silicon Valley because that's just where the money lives. Those are the
Rachel, we've had organizing conversations literally where I've talked about Silicon Valley lives. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily because I'm, a bad person. It's just like I'm looking at the numbers because it's important that we raise enough funds to do our work. And I'm like, yeah, these people from New York and LA, they raise a lot of money because they've got a lot to spend and they've got different / better / somewhat more humane values than the Georgia values.
Honestly, once you start thinking of it properly as a feudal system, it becomes so much easier to navigate. Like, I know that it sounds like I'm joking, but like I say we have basically a feudal system because we do. And if you treat it like one, you can succeed in it.
Actually, I would argue that this is more like a pre-feudal system at this point. It's like the Roman Empire. It's like the Roman Empire, right? Technically, anyone can become a politician if you serve in the military. That was the Roman Empire.
That was, and now we have Amy, and we also have McSally on the Republican side. It literally, I can show y'all the Martha McSally ad where it's like her in the plane and being a mom. Like, it's literally the Amy McGrath ad. They're the same person, like, and they're both getting blown out right now. Obviously,
nobody needs another conservative white woman masquerading as a Democrat. Nobody needs it.
Right.
Nobody needs it.
Right.
Nobody wants that. It's not a good look. It's making life harder for me because I look like that. Stop it. Quit it. Don't do it anymore. Stop.
We'll see if that works. Does that work with Ellie?
No. God, no.
So it's probably not going to work with the forces of international capital, Rachel.
This is a performance, Brandon.
Okay, good point.
And acting like buskers on the side of the road because we're trying to get paid.
We're making content. Okay. So listen, I feel like that's a good way to transition. We should transition to something much better.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is it. This is the thing. This is great.
We love Karishma.
I love that we knew Karishma when she was a regular person. And she knew us when we were regular people. That's even better.
True.
Yeah. She's running for State House.
Official. It's happening. It's finally happening.
She's got a super nice video. I suggest that you all go on her YouTube and watch the video. It's really good. It's cool. It's good. It's all right. So we're hoping that the endorsements from some of these organizations, especially for many of these organizations that she's had key hands in, really building up the credibility of their organization over the last year or so.
No kidding.
Hopefully those organizations will be intelligent and step up to the plate for a genuinely very cool person. And in the meantime, hopefully we'll be hitting that bright gold donate button. I love it. This is really beautiful. Go to the website. Also, we haven't talked about this, but us as a podcast, we love superficial things like logo design.
We do.
we did a whole episode of our podcast early on, just literally talking about the design and swag of the Democratic candidates. We did 2 of those episodes. Karishma did not consult with us on this logo. It's just dope. That's just an incredible logo. I'm literally like, I want to run for office just so I can do a ripoff of that logo. That is a.
Are we doing constructive feedback though? Because
no, we're not. Listen, this is.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great.
This is an AOC tier logo.
Yes, that is the kind of shirt you would wear just because it looks cool.
This is an iconic logo that like people will be doing ripoffs of nationally. It's really great.
I'm already ripping it off.
Yep, I'm like when Kennedy, when you run for office, you're gonna have that exact same K.
I want to go ahead and announce, that I am running for office as a bit for a blue check. I don't know what office. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we know.
The money.
Yes, but you can use that exact logo with the state. God, that's fucking dope on a high level. So
my state doesn't have a good shape though.
No, but you can. I know, but the great thing
about
what
New Mexico shape like.
It's just a box. you can but it's so good because your logo doesn't have to be as good as Virginia's in order to do it, because you can put the state anywhere in that box for typography. Like it's just incredible.
It's not just the like. It's not just the typography, although the typography is very good. It's the entire thing has just such a good flow to it, and it really directs the eye very effectively, like between each part of the idea, and it's just good.
I know. It looks like a thumbs down, actually. It looks like
thumbs down, actually.
Whoever designed Karishma's logo, we should at least like commission them to redesign our website, just to see what their take on our brand is. That's fucking fire. That's world-class shit. Anyway, I know most of y'all won't care, but I care. The Tupac care, don't nobody else care. I just wanted to kind of point that out. And Karishma, we do not only just love her for typography. Come on, give me a break. She's also doing stuff like these forums. She's doing one on criminal justice reform and voter suppression. And the reason why I'm telling you about this is because this is happening tomorrow night. What are you doing tomorrow that you don't want to hang out with Karishma, Bill Cobb, Nikki Merritt, who's in the Georgia area, and she's good. She's solid. She's fine, and also a very good speaker. So it's going to be an entertaining, insightful discussion. If you're a Marianne fan, you probably know Keita Haynes because Marianne Williamson was a big supporter of her congressional run. She's moderating. This is the kind of thing that you want to spend a precious hour of your free time doing, and you want to donate to that Karishma campaign. You just want to be in on this because we're never going to shut up about Karishma. We're going to be a Karishma Stan podcast.
Love it. Love Karishma.
Rachel, I see your kerning note. I don't think it's trash, but I can see ultimate.
Called out.
But I do.
Fred.
Wait, I'm gonna have your back on this. I could see some alternate take on the kerning.
Here's what I'm gonna do with Karishma, who I love, and because I love you. That kerning is very, very bad, but if you send me the file, I will fix it for you for free.
Yeah, and I would say the kerning is debatable, but
it's bad.
I lean towards you. Okay. Anyway, that was fun.
Damn. Brandon will never not stab me in the back.
Listen, I wasn't gonna stab you in the back in diplomacy, so I have to stab you in the back
in real life where it counts. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God! Wow. Listen, we gotta. You know who else? You know who else is our friend and running for office? Donna Imam. you know, when Donna was running, we wanted to be like a Donna Imam show and do a lot for her. And we did a few, you know, events with her, but we kind of got her to the point. It's not at all true. We're going to pretend we got her to the point where, you know, the Yang people picked her up and she got the Bernie endorsement and the Warren endorsement and the Beto endorsement, which is...
To be fair, Donna herself said that our show helped her meet donations way back in December.
We're day ones.
We're day ones.
We're day ones. Now she's rolling in the big leagues. But Donna will never forget us. We'll never forget Donna because she's working for the right things, and we have an opportunity to add to Congress just a rad, cool person who's keeping focus on cash payments to people during this shitty virus where we're arguing about everything except giving cash payments to people. I literally, my mind is blown at the lack of relief people have gotten these last 6 months, these last 9 months.
Well, because these people have no idea what that means. They have never at any point in their lives wanted for anything, you know, and they cannot understand how dire things are for people.
Morisaki, always say free. Don't let people in the media trick you out of saying free. Whenever one of these libs, anybody who's ever used the phrase free at the point of service is a lib. I love you, but you are one. It's time for you to combat the liberalism in yourself. Use the word free. Have you ever spoken to a black person? Black people love free shit. Go to any restaurant. The Varsity had free Varsity that one day, and the line was so long you couldn't get in. There's nothing a human being loves more than free. You can never beat free. Have you ever spoken to a conservative talking about politics and their political struggle? They always say, you can't beat Santa Claus. That's right. You can never beat free. Free will always try.
Even the conservatives have completely hinged their entire deontological conception of freedom on, or of
money,
power on freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like their one royal god.
Free. Freedom is free. And we understand that free at the point of service is more accurate, but we're talking about all of this junk mail we're getting, Morisaki. And I'm putting up the weak defense of junk mail. It is junk mail, kind of. Well, I don't know. Let's say it's not junk mail because it's for a good cause. We're having a whole debate about that, right? But either way, whatever you want to call them, mailers, they're science. They are what people are responding to. And we can say that's the scummy side of our personality is in that mailer, but free is also in our personality. And it's the good side of personality. It's the part of our willpower that wants us to not have to
because
beat each other to death for
here's
stuff.
The reason companies do stuff like this, and the reason that, like, I keep saying we should start a community garden actually, is because when you tell people, like, you're giving them something for free, they like you. Like,
Yep.
It's not just that they like the free thing, they buy a
They like you.
you.
That's right.
And
Now-
that's extremely powerful from a marketing perspective. You know, you want to be giving people as much as you can. This idea that saying things will be free is like gonna stop somebody by scaring off the conservatives is ridiculous.
And we have that debate in organizing circles when we talk about where is the line between mutual aid and charity. Because, you know, mutual aid, you want to have a form of aid that is constructive aid. That is, and I personally would not categorize DSA as a revolutionary organization, although some do, but it is a revolutionary action. So it's not a revolutionary action, is what I mean. When we talk about, like, well, power building is a revolutionary action. Charity is not. But however, giving somebody something, and sorry for that long drift around the point, does have the utility of getting someone to like you. It can also create, like, a sense of hierarchy. But I would rather be, if I have to slightly tilt toward one side, I would rather give people stuff than how can I push? Because when you over push for your organization, you end up with mailers. You end up with mailer psychology, which is just, we're trying to optimize at all times. And that's not healthy.
Between charity and mutual aid is intent. It is how you approach the people that you are actually giving things to. It is how you make space and hold space for people that you're trying to help and let them tell you what they need. And like actually serve to empower people to do more things for themselves. Like that's what mutual aid is about. Charity is about a write-off. It's about wanting to gain something from it. You know, charity is inherently hierarchical because it is designed to, in some capacity or another, convenience a more powerful person. You know, and
sometimes, you know, it's hierarchical and that's fine. Sometimes there needs to be an ask. Like sometimes you need to come to the thing with something that you want, because a lot of people won't do stuff for you unless you're sure of what you want.
Well, yeah.
People like, and I feel like that's maybe one of the, I mean, an organization that is an organization that people envision as like a real working class democratic organization will need to appeal to both types of people. So there should be something that is in that room, because that's
these
how
things
you recruit.
both work.
Yeah,
they both like
right.
Neither of them is ineffective, and in fact, if we want to really win this, we're going to need to use both of them. I agree.
Correct. And one doesn't need to be to the exclusion of the other. You can hold space and have an ass.
I think the issue with charity is dependence, personally.
Yeah.
I think that the difference, like you, Brandon, you described mutual aid as constructive aid. And I think that's like an important kind of like way to look at it in my mind, is like charity creates dependence. Like somebody bringing you a box of food every week is potentially like a type of charity, right? And it might be useful, but it creates a dependence because you're not at any point being lifted out of the circumstances that require you to like need that box of food, or like being given the means to produce that box of food yourself.
You're
just being given the charity. That's where I see it. To me, like what I think of as like really useful mutual aid is stuff that doesn't create long-term dependence, but instead, and this isn't to blame the people giving somebody a hungry person food or the hungry person for taking it, but just to say that like if we want to do the best by the people that we're trying to help, we should be trying to help them in like the sense of giving them the tools to survive long term, as opposed to giving them charity that will help them survive today. If you only have choice for one, give them the charity that will help them survive today. But if you have the ability as an organization to say, what are we going to prioritize? Giving people charity that will help them survive today? Or are we going to prioritize structures? Are we going to prioritize tools? Are we going to prioritize things that could help people in our community survive long-term for years to come?
Yes.
You really, in my opinion, should be leaning towards the latter if you want to call it mutual aid.
And when people, you know, I've had people ask me, and this is almost somebody I put in contact with you, but I haven't. But they messaged me and was like, so DSA, do they provide material aid to working people? Because I don't want to like be in the wrong organization if that's not the case. Or do we like spend our money on committees?
I don't know. DSA, do we?
Yes, but what I told them was yes, but it's not all we do. And I think that's a fair action. I mean, we do a lot of mutual aid projects. I don't know if we organize enough mutual aid projects, but I'm not sure we organize enough projects just as a whole. But I think we do a good job of being engaged with things as they are brought to us.
You know, I'm gonna actually contradict here, but I'm gonna leave the party line. Sorry, DSA. There's a lot of people who I love who are doing great work in DSA, and I'm not trying to shit on them. But there is across DSA a certain kind of overt hostility to anything that is perceived as anarchist, and mutual aid falls under that umbrella. There are a lot of people who are like sincerely just dismissive of mutual aid on its face. And I think right now DSA is kind of in the middle of an ideological struggle around whether we are going to really pursue that as one of the things we prioritize. And I mean, you see that is a primary focus in the Libertarian Socialist Caucus of the DSA now, as people are sincerely trying to get something off the ground with mutual aid, because a lot of us realize that we're completely screwed. And the only way we're actually going to do socialism over the next 15, 20 years is if we have the ability to materially provide for ourselves. And I know that sounds really doomer, and maybe it is, but I think,
I mean, I will say this. I've seen some takes on Twitter of people talking about, hey, rich people fund a strike or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen. So if that's your politics, I would instead listen to Rachel here and start a community garden, because that community garden is going to do more to support a strike than fucking John Cusack or fucking Tom Steyer or any of these woke rich people that are supposed people talk about
It's also worth mentioning that I'm not against any of the other ones. I'm not against electoralism. I think electoralism is useful. I think, however, if you're
by all means, Tom Steyer, give us money.
Yeah, really, please. I don't care. Pay me. It's fine. You won't influence my opinions, but give me money. But no, if you are in a state like Georgia, where we recently dropped from, I think, 35th to 49th for ease of voting, how easy it is to vote, we are the second hardest state to vote in. And I think if you're trying to prioritize electoral politics in this state, in this moment, you are missing out on a lot of opportunities to help people. I think right now, my primary concerns are about the fact that my neighbors are facing homelessness and food insecurity, and the fact that people have suddenly become unemployed, and that's an immediate problem. And in this community, relative to the amount of power we actually have, it's definitely not electoral. We don't win elections in Georgia because they're rigged, really transparently rigged.
Will your opinion on this change if Georgia, quote, goes blue, unquote? Does that damage your case for electoral reform?
I don't know.
It really depends on outcomes. It depends. It depends on what people do. It depends on who wins, is less worse an improvement? Yeah. But do I think it's necessarily the thing that's going to empower people the most? I don't think we have the
unfortunately.
Well, girl, you said what's blue, and the reason why I said it with quotation marks is because you can define it however you want to define it. If we literally mean, does the success of the Democratic Party bode well for electoral reform, then you feel free to engage with that question. Or if you think that I'm being sarcastic and blue should come in air quotes, and you're saying the system is a fuck, in what case does perpetuating this incredibly fucked up system bode well for electoral reform? So either way, pick your choice.
Well, listen.
Electoral reform really is how deep we have to go to actually solve these problems. We're talking about fundamental assumed institutions and reconceiving of what it means to elect a person and what kind of person we want elected, right? Nobody knows, I make this joke all the time, but nobody knows what a Condorcet winner is, except for a handful of nerds like me who are extremely into voting and who are preoccupied with understanding why everything is so broken. Most people just assume that voting for one of two candidates is fine, or they don't understand if they assume that, we need to get a third party in power. They don't understand how to bring that, actual outcome to fruition. You know what I mean? You're not going to win with a third party with a first past the post electoral system. You're not. It's not going to happen.
Rachel, it's so funny that you say that, because this is one of my just takes on, because in our chapter we've had discussions about to what degree should we be opposed to the Democratic Party, and what organizing stuff we do after that. And one of the things that I've thought is people don't think of or care about the Democratic Party institutionally. The Democratic Party as an institution is completely irrelevant to most people, even people who have really strong values and will be willing to join their organization.
Yeah. Most people who vote Democrats are not in the Democratic Party. They're people kind of members, and they never show us anything.
They don't know what the Shadow app is. They don't know who Debbie Wasserman Schultz is. They could not pick Tom Perez out of a lineup. They don't know anything about the corruption inside that political party. Just like a lot of people who are on Twitter all day talking to you about the Green Party don't know anything that's actually happening inside the fucking Green Party and just associate it with whatever their personal values are.
Yeah, it's aesthetic.
So, but keep in mind, it's not if you're a Green Party booster and you pride yourself on being like a woke person that's aware of effects, but then maybe it's a little bad for you. But if you're a general average person that goes to work, it's not pathetic for you to not know the inner workings of the Democratic Party because you're not supposed to give a shit. Normal people aren't supposed to give a shit about politics. It's not a normal thing to care about. Nobody wants to be involved in this process. So it's not your job to research the inner workings of the Democratic Party. But it is. But if you're an organization that knows that they suck and you want to do better than them, just demand your values. So demand this stimulus go through. And they'll come to, and people who are really into those contradictions and are thinking about it will research for themselves about the Democratic Party and why they're not on the ball like they should be. But if you're out talking about living wage, if you're out talking about police violence, if you're out talking about the stimulus and just helping people survive the virus, people don't need to, whatever their opinion on the Democratic Party will be irrelevant, whether they're pro or con or neutral.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up.
What?
We could go on for another hour, but
go on forever. No, honestly, it's something I would love to sit down and actually talk to G about things, because dreaming about things we might do is like the only time I ever feel hopeful anymore.
Oh, well, listen. I want to give one more shout out before we leave. Two slight shout outs. One, I want to just talk about D&D for Dems. I didn't know that Donna Imam was playing Dungeons and Dragons with her Zoom list, but we're really missing some
holy
cool
shit
going
how
on.
Did we not know this?
Yeah.
Rick.
How were we not invited to D&D for Dems? Oh, probably because we spent the last 15 minutes windmill dunking on these people. Listen, I will listen. We don't even have party affiliation in our state. If you guys invite us to D&D,
listen, we're gonna start. No, I'm gonna start Apocalypse World for Anarchists.
Oh God. That's funny as hell. Okay, listen.
It'll be fine.
We also, this is a big day because A Time of Monsters comes out today.
We don't know when exactly, but it is coming today.
Our plan is for it to come out like at 8/9, but we're trying to make a perfect production as always. So we want it to be super dope, but we're just very hyped to be behind the scenes, bringing you the vision and bringing it to action. It's a great show. It's going to be, I've heard some previews of it. It's great. It's going to be your new favorite podcast. I've been lucky enough
to listen to some of the episodes today a little bit while I was working on the show earlier. And y'all are going to like this.
It is on the tier of citations needed and some of the intercept stuff. It's just on that world-class level. I really love it.
Also, Rara's audio portion of her show is coming out this week.
The Hot Girl Agenda is a podcast now too. That's dropping this week.
Now too.
And finally, Metro Atlanta DSA. If you didn't know, we are back on Twitter.
Unbanned.
They tried to hold us down for 2 weeks, but we are back. And also, I do want to show off some of these. We're also doing some stuff for Zan Fort, who we also wanted to to kind of talk about in this episode. We didn't have time. But anyway, we also got some nice new graphics, and we're going to be doing some Angela Davis reading at the end of the week. Rachel, I'll sneak you in as always.
To what?
No, nothing. Listen, also, just a joke. Listen, we're out of here. It's been real. We love it, and we'll see you later. Rachel, anything else?
If you actually have a couple calls. If you are a sex worker who would like to speak about sort of the big sex worker debate, feel free to reach out to me. I'm looking for people to sort of talk to. I want to do sort of a piece about it, but I want to do it justice and correctly. So like, reach out. No, that's it. I think that's about it, actually. I'm trying to think if there's something else. But no.
We're doing a show tonight, right?
Which show?
Are we doing Chris?
No, we're actually tomorrow we have Chris Richards. We're recording it tonight.
Oh, okay.
Sort of just the history of Latin America that created the circumstances that are currently going on in Bolivia.
That is rad. That's going to be tomorrow's show then.
Yes, that's tomorrow's show.
That's incredible. All right. So
excited because he just realized that I've bought him a day off. Well, from this thing of the 1,000 things.
Yeah, that's right. Free extra hour. See you guys later. Bye-bye.